All right. Well, the semifinals just ended around half an hour ago, and I took a little time to gather my thoughts because I got both predictions wrong, and I feel bad if you were following mine. Though, as I always say in my videos, never just follow what somebody else says. I don't think that's a good way to go about how you do things. Never let somebody dictate your choices for you. But my personal choices, I got them both wrong, and I am glad to admit that. I said in my video yesterday that I would be really happy if CAG won, and I am happy to see them make a grand final here because it's the first ever grand final for an APAC team in a S tier tournament in Siege, first ever grand final for a Japanese team at a S tier Siege tournament. So lots of history there. Uh, Rough break for a wild card. They were up 1-0 and ended up losing the series as well. The second two maps were pretty disappointing from them. They didn't look like the team they were the earlier in the tournament. And then for W7 and Furia, like I said, I kind of just lost the coin flip game here. And Furia were just more clutch, man. They have more composure, and that's really what won them today. Because there were so many moments where W7M was able to close it out, particularly on that first map of Border, and they just couldn't. I'm specifically looking at that Castle 1B3 from KZ. That should not never have happened, but it did, and that basically won them the game. There was also that Armory defense in overtime that they lost, which was pretty poorly played as well. That could have at least sent that match to 7-7 and given W7M another chance to close it out. But anyways, W7M did end up taking the loss today. Furia moved to the final. Not surprised. Get predictions wrong all the time. Though this is definitely worse for me than usual. It's rough to get both semifinals wrong, especially if you're directly following my predictions one by one. So, yeah. I'll still on 6 points. One off the skin still. I think I cursed myself yesterday by saying I need 1 out of 3. And I get both wrong today. So I have to get the final right. Now the final will be CAG Furia. Very interesting final. I already put Furia in because I can't like fathom in my mind that a team so used to being in these higher pressure situations not winning it, and like such a good team, because now, and it's in Brazil too, like all their families are going to be there. CAG, the best thing CAG got going for them is they have absolutely zero pressure on them to win this tournament. They've gone farther than anyone could have ever expected, pretty much already, including me. So I didn't expect this from them. I didn't think they'd make it out of groups. Them being in top 8 was surprising enough. So huge win for CAG, whether they win or lose tomorrow. I'm taking Furia. And again, make sure to save your predictions. And also, they end in around just over 20 hours. So don't get them in too late. And also, one last thing I wanted to share too, just a bit of history for CAG as well, because they're now the first APAC team to ever make a grand final at a S tier tournament in Siege. And they're also the first ever Japanese team to make a grand final at a S tier tournament in Siege. I remember the last time a Japanese team made a semifinal, which is the best they've done in the past at a S tier tournament for Siege, was like 6 Invitational in 2019. And I remember that because I was there, and this is the one picture I have from it on my phone where it was Norengo versus Fnatic, and Norengo won this game. This is the quarterfinal game. They won this game to go to the semifinal where they lost to Empire, and that's as far as Japan has gotten since. But I mean, just looking back at this is the first ever Siege and LAN event I went to, and it was just such a different time. All these like legendary Japanese players who helped form the scene there, and then also, I mean, Virtue still plays, but also the old Fnatic Australian roster as well. Kind of funny to look at now, and how only Virtue plays out of all these players, and how much the game has changed since then. But yeah, anyways, I'm taking Furia. It's my safe choice. I need to get that point. I'm not even going to be mad if I'm wrong tomorrow. If CAG win the grand final, that'd be the one of the greatest things ever for the scene in general. But logically, as I said before, Furia, I cannot convince myself otherwise to not pick them. So they are who I'm taking. And that's all. And I will see everyone tomorrow probably for one more video after the one more like wrap up video, probably after the grand final. And then in a few weeks after that, we're going to move into stage 1. And we'll get to talk about stage 1 when we get there. So yeah, thank you and have a good rest of your day.